And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. This week, the nation paid its final respects to Senator John McCain. And in all of the tributes coming his way, the word hero seemed to sum him up more than any other. His heroism was born out of his service to our nation. He was the son and grandson of Navy admirals, the first 1-2 combination in Navy history. And his military record is unparalleled, including his 5.5 years as a prisoner of war in North Vietnam. But he went on to serve his country in other ways, both in Congress and in the United States Senate, and as the Republican standard bearer for president in 2008. And many of the folks having wonderful things to say about him now didn't have such nice things to say about him 10 years ago, but that's an aside. So, as we say goodbye to Senator McCain, and as you're watching this, I plan to be at the National Cathedral to do so myself, we can hear the words of Senator Joe Biden, a Democrat who gave a very touching eulogy at the church in Phoenix this week and who paraphrased William Shakespeare in saying, "We shall not see his like again." Rest in peace, Senator McCain, and may perpetual light shine upon you. In political news this week, we saw a couple of primaries that have interesting implications for the fall. First, in Arizona, where an open U.S. Senate seat is bound to be hotly contested. And Republican Congresswoman Martha McSally carried the day with over 50% of the vote against 2 fringe conservative candidates. That sets up a meeting with another Congresswoman who took 80% of the vote in her primary, Kristen Sinema. And what's really fascinating as a footnote there is not only that Arizona is going to have a woman senator and an additional woman in the U.S. Senate come January because 2 women are facing each other, but they are 2 women who are both World Ironman competition finalists. It's amazing to me, as a guy that, likes to take a little jog in the park every now and then, I'm in awe of those people that can swim 2.4 miles, then bike for 112 miles, and then run a full marathon. That's 26.2 miles if you're counting on top of that. Both of these women have. It's a sport in which over 80% of the finalists are men. Both these women have done it. It's the first time when 2 combatants in a U.S. Senate contest had both been Ironman finalists. That's pretty impressive. How that works out is really going to be interesting because that's a seat that Democrats think they can pick up. Meanwhile, in Florida, precisely the opposite is true, where the seat held by Bill Nelson, a 75-year-old incumbent Democrat, being challenged by incumbent Republican Governor Rick Scott, looks to be going the other way. That's a real opportunity for pickup for the Republicans. Their gubernatorial primary there, meanwhile, was very interesting, where Ron DeSantis defeated Adam Putnam and another candidate to take the Republican nomination. He's a Trump-supported candidate. Meanwhile, the mayor of Tallahassee, Mayor Gillum, won the Democratic primary. A little bit of an upset there. This guy is, pretty far out there in left field. I mean, he's, somewhere to the left of Mao, I think. But it sets up a very interesting and important race in Florida. It's going to be a pivotal battleground, much like my home state of Pennsylvania, come November, because Florida is another state Donald Trump carried, a seat held by the Democrats in the Senate, and now a very interesting juxtaposition for governor between a conservative Republican backed by the president and a socialist Democrat way out of the mainstream of the Democratic Party. An African American, by the way, one of 3 African Americans nominated by Democrats for governor, one in neighboring Georgia, the other in Maryland. It sets up a very interesting fall. Well, stay tuned. There's lots more political news to come next week. But for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.